Okay, I thought I got lucky last night playing around with this. I put this extrusion on here to see where I was as far as level, and it looked pretty good to me, but in fact I was off by almost 1/4 of an inch. So after I did some shimming back and forth from the front to the back, I ended up with .3, that says 3.45 on the front, and I've measured it a couple of times because I do get different measurements. The thing is, you want to keep this as perpendicular as possible. Yeah, there we go. 3.45 again. Yeah. 3.457 that time. Okay, so if I go back to this side, then I move my straight edge from the front of the saw to the back here, and I'm going all the way across my table saw so that I get good contact. And I measure the back. Parallel. .45 even on the back. So that means I'm within 7/1000ths of an inch of being perfectly level. And you know, I'm making some assumptions here, I guess, but that's all I can do because I'm assuming that this is the same thickness. So what I need to do is, the shims are on the front side here. And let me just show you what they are here. So I'm going to take this apart. Let me get this straight edge out of the way. So I've got the front shimmed up. And that means that this side has to drop. The back side has to go down. So if this is shimmed up, this has to go lower. So I measure my shims, and I get .259. Can you see that? There it is, 259. So I'm going to take what I got over there, believe it or not, is I've got a piece of plywood that's measures .260. And I think that once I put it in here and compress the bolts a little bit, you know, it'll compress a little bit. I think it's going to be perfect. So I'm going to cut a shim 1.5 inches wide, because this has got, you know, the way the extrusions are made, they come together in the middle like this. They got a 2-degree taper. So I'm going to cut a shim that's 1.5 inches wide, put it on the back, and then re-bolt it up and take my measurements again. This ply actually measures 262. Yeah, there we go. And it's called, I get it at my Menards up here. They still happen to have the sticker on it. Arauco ply, I think is how you say it. Yeah, A-R-A-U-C-O. Arauco ply. Anyway, I'm going to drill the holes for my bolts and get this installed. I already got my shim installed, and don't know if you can see it right there. I think it shows up pretty well. Right here. So that went pretty smooth. I had to use longer bolts this time, but let's take some measurements now and see where we're at with this thing. So I'm going to start with the back first. Again, I'm making sure that I'm flush to this and perpendicular. Okay, I get 3. Change this over. 3.7055. Okay. To the front. .7045. I'd say we're pretty level. That's way better than I expected.
Hey, what's up, bud? Get on the mic in here, Chris. Yeah, just yeah. Is your name Chris? See, you're a dumbass, Nardo. His name's Nick. I told you it was. So you don't care enough about him to know his name. I'm the idiot? You're the idiot. You're the dumbass. You're making me be deeply trouble. Feeling like I've been in the wrong room for only a month. I mean, sportsman.com guy. I don't care about your name. Well, now it turns out producer guy and excessive me. For that I love it. And then you.
Yeah, that's that. That is incredibly stiff. Okay. Drop these other 4 in, and we'll go to work on the rest of it here, the build up. This is kind of one of those deals when you're doing something and you're adjusting it. It also, what this gives me is once I put my sliding table on here, it gives me this minor ability here to adjust parallel, which will be fantastic. So I'm going to put it in. I'm just kind of feeling it. About like that. And we'll just tighten it down right there. Incredible flexibility. Yep. And as solid as can be. Okay. I'm gonna bring my sliding table up here, I believe, and just see how it sits and what I need to bring this up. I'm ecstatic. I need, regardless of the measurement, that's just a hair over 3/4 of an inch. But it is right on the money. It just touches. There, yeah, there it touches. You can see it scraping the dust off there. Right there. Unbelievable. Beautiful. Okay, so I gotta get this thing up And actually what I do want is I want this to just be slightly above the surface of this table. But I'll work on that. So I know what my dimension needs to be. It's about 3/4. So another sheet of, or some blocking of that, which is going to be shy. This is going to be way too much, I think. Yeah, that's going to be too much. I might have to make some solid blocks. I think I will plane them to thickness. And then to those blocks, I'll bolt my bearing blocks to them. You know, I had talked about coming up this way, just raising the platform and putting some shims under here. But the way this fastens to the extrusion and my ability to kind of tweak it back and forth a little bit, I'm going to leave that alone. So I'm going to plane some blocks, get them the exact thickness I need. You know, whatever that size. I'm going to make them out of probably poplar or I got some hard maple over there too. That might even be better because it's a little more durable. Let me get those made. All right, there she is. Oh, I've got tools everywhere. It works good. The one thing I still have just barely clips my rail here. That means, I guess that means I'm right back where I was basically. So I've got to, I'm going to see if this will install back down the center. Oh, that's too low now. I got to get a piece of hard maple underneath that to get that back up where it belongs. That's good, I like it. I'll get things cleaned up. And then we'll check it for parallel here. See how that looks. Alright, after some tightening, loosening, tapping, just playing around, I set my straight edge parallel with this factory edge out here. There's a cut line on the other side of this. So I've got this set to same distance here and here. And I've checked it at different spots and it's parallel. So after doing that, I then want to make sure that this is parallel to my miter slot. So you can't see it because it's behind this clamp panel, but it's set at 0. I slide it along. I think maybe you can see that dial indicator now. Let me see here. There it is there, 0. And as I slide it along, it stays there. Let me see if I can go with this here. Let me just take it down to the last spot here. That's as far as I can go right there. And it's still at 0. So my Starrett straight edge parallel to this edge in the back. So you're going to see this edge. This edge here is parallel to this edge out here as best that I can, and then it is now parallel to my miter slot of my table saw. So that's all I can do, and I'm going to put put my fence on here and make a couple test cuts and see how it works. When I slide this, maybe that's what you're wondering too, is I got a little run out here, a few thousandths, like right, let's see, if I go all the way back to the beginning of my cut, if I were to start, I can't go all the way back because of my straight edge, but if I were to start there, it's at -5, and if I were to end my cut, which is about right there, this is where my fence would be, and that's where my blade is. I'm at about 7. So I got about 12 thousandths run out in this. I've tried to correct it. There's really nothing I can do. Having not done this the first time when I built this, I just kind of put it together and made it as what I thought was parallel, and it worked fine. But now that I've done a little better job of building this platform and I have a little more adjustment to the table, I'm finally seeing something maybe that I didn't see before. But it works good. So I'm gonna make some test cuts and we'll see how that turns out. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this justice, but I just made my second cut. The first cut was after I set up to make it, and it was just a hair off, so I made a fine adjustment, and I can't do any better than that. I hesitate to use the word perfect, but I'll put it this way. That's as close as I can get to 90 degrees and be absolutely happy. Just elated. That just worked out just great. So my sliding table's back in operation. Everything else is working good. I'm going to clean up. I'm going to clean the top of my table saw, and then I'm going to get some measurements for that cart. So I want to take care of my saw tabletop here. I got some rust and some other stuff going on here. I'm just going to clean it up quick, and then we'll get busy on that cart.